One of the things that I've been working on is the the questioning that we use when we're doing the mastermind section in the second half. It's called future questioning, and it's like an optimal way of asking questions. And I feel like sometimes some of the ladies struggle a little bit of the to understand and to get the right type of question to ask. I'll explain more of this, Sherry, when we get to it in the second half of the session, but I just thought I'd explain it whilst we're waiting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the WhatsApp group for those of you that are members, so that you can use them for future meetings, and perhaps have them in front of you, print them off or put them on your screen, so that you can sort of whiz through and see which one might be the most suitable. They help with all sorts of things, not just these meetings. The way that we ask questions helps to get the best answer, doesn't it? Yeah. The power of language, Sarah, here. Okay, let's get started, because I'm sure the others will join us as we're going along. I'm gonna just change my view. Okay, there we go. So as always, I have gone into my 4 agreements pack and picked 4 agreements for our session today. So Sherry, when we do our session, when I do any work, I always ask everyone who's part of the group to commit to the 4 agreements. And the 4 agreements were created, if you don't know, by a man called Don Miguel Ruiz. Okay, good. I'm glad you know. So, a bit like Oracle cards, I shuffle them and I ask in my pack which cards to bring forward. And I'm going to put them on the screen so that you can see them, for those of you that are very visual. Let me just share that with you. Make it a bit bigger so you can see them. There we go. And share my screen. The wonders of technology. There we go. So the first one, don't make assumptions. They make me smile when I bring them out, because they are perfectly aligned to the topic that we're going to discuss for the day. Because, of course, energetically, there are no accidents. Everything just connects beautifully, doesn't it? So the first one, don't make assumptions. Speak openly and honestly. And I think this is the one that I stumble on most of all, making assumptions about things. And when I find that I've tripped up over something, it's usually because I've not followed the 4 agreements. So speak openly and honestly. And if you're not quite sure about something, ask a more detailed question to get clarification. And on the back of, I'll read the backs in a minute, because I've done a screen grab of those too. So the second one, be impeccable with your word. Manifest your true intentions. Oh, beautiful. That's perfect, isn't it? Because we're creating, we're manifesting all the time. So it's like, be careful what you manifest. I'm going to go into a lot more detail about that as we do this session, of course. And then the next one is, don't take anything personally. Relinquish self-importance. There's AKA ego, because it's not about you as the woman who runs your business. It's about what your clients are getting, what transformation they're receiving whilst working with you. And then the final one, don't take anything personally. Be immune to others' opinions. I was talking to one of my clients earlier this week, and she said, oh, the only thing I ever get in my LinkedIn inbox is people trying to sell me something. I went, ooh, is that a belief or is it true? Because what we believe becomes reality, doesn't it? I said to her, how about switching that and turning it round and saying, the more successful I become, the more people try to sell their services to me. It's a good way of looking at it, isn't it? Because you're becoming more visible. And therefore, as you become more visible, it means that people are more able to see you and your services. So she was like, oh, yeah, I never thought about it like that. So I'm just going to change the cards over, metaphorically speaking, or electronically speaking. Second one. There we go. There. Now I'll make the page bigger so you can see, and then share my screen. There we go. So the first one, don't make assumptions. On the back it says, when you speak openly and honestly, you won't have to make assumptions. The day you stop making assumptions, you will communicate cleanly and clearly and achieve impeccability with your word, which connects beautifully into the second card, doesn't it? Be impeccable with your word. They all connect. So when you're speaking your truth, people, on the opposite side of the coin, because everything is a direct reflection of your energy, they won't have to make assumptions. You're not making assumptions. They're not making assumptions because you're speaking from the heart and you're speaking cleanly and clearly. So you get much more respect from that. I had a big lesson for that this week, which has been interesting. Definitely a leveling up experience, let's put it that way. So the second one, don't take anything personally. Be impeccable with your word. This one here, the yellow one. Regardless of what language you speak, your intent will manifest through the word. What you dream, what you feel, what you really are will all be manifested through the word. So language has energy. So be careful what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you're feeling. And when you realise or someone reflects that back at you, and I'm encouraging women in this group to do this kindly and with love, is that real? Is that a true sentence, whatever it is that you've spoken? Or is that a limiting belief? Or how can you reframe that? Because sometimes we're so pre-programmed, we don't even hear the language that's coming out. So it's about taking it and reframing it for a more empowering belief. The third one, don't take anything personally. So the front, just as a reminder, says relinquish self-importance. And it says here on the back, personal importance or taking things personally is the maximum expression of selfishness because we make the assumption that everything is about me. I think particularly when we drop into that lowest level of vibration around, victim mode, why is everything happening to me? That's very important when we're not taking things personally. I heard somebody talking outside, it was my window cleaner, the beginning of this week. And I thought, why is he saying that about my windows? And I caught myself, I'm like, I don't know that he's saying it about my windows. That's me making an assumption and that's me taking it personally. Oh, it's funny, isn't it? Honestly, it's there in every level. And then finally, the orange one, so don't take anything personally, was be immune to other people's opinions. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Powerful, aren't they? Very powerful. I think we can all relate to those. It's catching it, isn't it, as it happens, and recognising that actually that doesn't have to be your reality. One of the things that connects to this final one is And I think we've all experienced this, particularly when we're doing a lot of work online, it's that bucket of crabs analogy. The people who have an opinion that's less than optimal about you and your services are usually people that are vibrating at a lower frequency than you. So that is, if you flip it and go, actually, I can see how far I've come. Because what someone thinks about you has got nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. It's powerful, isn't it? Okay, so we're all going to agree to the 4 agreements. Beautiful. Can I have a thumbs up from you, Shari, please? Fabulous. Thank you, darling. All right. So the topic of this month, so just for those of you that have not attended before, this is the structure. We have, for the first half of the meeting, we have the content, the subject of the month, and then we'll have a little break. And then in the second half, we'll have like 5 minutes, just loo break, fill up your cups, that sort of thing. And then we'll come back, and in the second half, we'll do the mastermind group. And what I'll do is we'll go around the room, ask each of you what your challenge is for this at this particular moment in time, and it can be business or personal. And this is recorded, so just as a reminder, it will be going out to other women who have signed up who are not able to attend, or who are members who are not able to attend. So, just be mindful of that other people are going to watch this. So, and then in the final 5-10 minutes, we're going to do a beautiful consciousness journey that will release energy that's like energetic debris that's keeping you stuck and perhaps playing a bit smaller than you would be normally. All right. Okay, so let's begin. So the topic this month is about manifesting abundance through your business, not from your business. I'm like, that totally makes sense to me, but it might not make sense to everyone, because your business is a direct reflection of your energy. So when we look at how much money is coming into our lives, particularly when we're self-employed, it is a direct reflection of what's going on beneath the surface. So we need to work on our own internal energy first and foremost, because your business will thank you for it. And your business is like a vehicle that provides you with what you need, and it's an energy exchange. You put your message out there, your products, your services, whatever it is that you're selling, and in return, your clients pay you. I just want to recognise, before we go into this any further, that it takes a special sort of woman to run her own business, because it can be really challenging. You have to have drive, tenacity, and that pure focus to really make things happen, even when you're feeling really shit. So I firstly want to go, well done, because each and every day you're getting up, you're showing up, and you're doing the work. Now, what is intriguing for me is, I hear women say this all the time. See if this resonates with you. They'll say, when I used to work for other people, I could sell like there was no tomorrow. I could sell anything and everything for that business. But now that I'm running my own business, I'm really struggling doing sales. And that is because of what I've just explained to you. It's because of that reflection of your own energy. I was talking to one of my clients this week, and she said she's an events manager. And it was funny because she said, I run wellness events, and I know that each and every woman on those stalls struggles to sell her own product or service. And what I'd like to do when I run this particular event is get them all to move up one table and sell the next lady's stuff. Because it'd be easier to sell the next lady's stuff than it will be to sell their own. And I laughed because it's true, isn't it? Why can we sell other people's stuff better than we can our own? It's because we're not emotionally connected to it. Now, that's a limiting belief. And what I'm going to do today with you is hopefully help you to clear that energetically. Oops, sorry, I'm just I forgot to turn my emails off. Okay. So just from an energetic, astrological thing, what's happening in September? September's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride astrologically. I don't even know, you might, well, Sarah's nodding her head, so she's obviously feeling this already. I don't know about you, Shari, but just as a forewarning of what's coming up, there's a couple of things that are coming up. So Mercury retrograde's gone, phew, thank goodness. The second thing that's coming up is on the 18th of September, we've got the full moon in Pisces, that beautiful, watery, deep, reflective Pisces. And it's not only a full moon, but it's a super moon, another beautiful super moon. And a lunar eclipse. So the energy around the 18th of September is going to be really strong. This is about doing a big reflection piece. It's about really connecting into what's sitting there beneath the surface. And then the next key date for September is the 22nd, which is the equinox. And it's where we've got the same amount of day hours as we have night hours. And there's a bit of a reflection piece there, isn't there? Around masculine, feminine, day, night, the law of attraction, opposites attract, all that stuff. So Pluto is the most powerful planet and is retrograde right now. So I want you to ask yourself some questions. Just do a bit of a reflection piece, some journaling. Ask yourself, where have you been hiding your truth? See what comes to you when we do this session. And the second one, ooh, there we go. Mary Magdalene stepped in. I work with Mary Magdalene Energy, Shari, and she's just stepped in. So that's a powerful question. Where have you been hiding your truth? And the second one, where have you been playing small? Because it's time to change all that. For the final, let's say, the final quarter of this year, where do you want to be by the end of 2024? What is it time to cause and create bigger and better than you've ever done before? Okay. Now, the law of attraction can be a funny thing. Most people have heard of it. You either get it or you don't. And I think some people can feel the frustration in it where I get the theory of it, but why is it not working for me? I get that, you know, I'm doing my gratitude journal, I'm calling in stuff, but there's something that's not quite right because I'm not receiving what I'm asking for. And there's lots of layers to this, and everybody's unique, which is why it may not be working for you. Because we all have these tiny little nuances that keep us like trapped emotions or things that have happened to us in the past or energy that's stuck, beliefs that are playing out in our subconscious. And we are all energy. So this time of year when we're in abundance, I went for my walk this morning and everything is absolutely teeming with life. Great big apples on trees that are practically falling over because they're so full. It's so beautiful, isn't it, the earth at this time of year? And because we're all connected energetically to the earth, Oh, that's why it felt so good to do this abundance one in September, because of the way that it flows through everything planetarily. So I just wanted to just play around a little bit in a logical mind with some of the beliefs that might have been showing up for you. So here in the UK, we've just got through August. And traditionally in the past, August was very quiet for me. School holidays, it's our big summer holidays in the UK. So it's like lots of my clients are mums with children. But because I've set my business up to make sure that my finances didn't drop in August, I've actually had the best month ever this month. And I've not worked that much either. I've serviced my existing clients that are coaching and energy healing, but I've not done any networking. I've not been out there promoting. And what was interesting was when I took my foot off the accelerator and rested and did my energy work through August, it absolutely blew my socks off how successful it was, because sometimes that distorted masculine energy, we can try too hard. And when we're in that depleted energy of exhaustion, that's where we're it's distorted energy, isn't it? Because we can't give the best of ourselves if we're flipping on our knees. So it was interesting for me. And what was even more interesting was I got a payment into my bank for over £300 and I've no idea where it came from. And when I looked into it, it took me about 48 hours to fathom out where it had come from. And it was an affiliate payment from something that I'd signed up to ages ago. And I'd shared my link with someone 12 months since, and they'd actually used it and I'd got paid for it. Now that's earning money in your sleep, isn't it? Isn't that brilliant? So what I did was put a plan in place so I knew that the money was coming in no matter what. Because the money just doesn't come from your business. The universe will send it to you in all sorts of different ways. I had a client who in the past who was only measuring the money that was coming in from her business. But actually, when she started measuring money that was coming in from all different avenues, it was like, do you know what? Actually, things are okay. So your business is one element of this. There are lots of different ways of you being able to bring revenue, attract revenue into your life. You might get a tax refund, or you might get an affiliate link payment, or you might get, the bank's overcharged you for something. There's all sorts of ways out there that money comes into your life. It all blends beautifully with skills of running your own business for over 20 years like me and being an energy healer. So it's no surprise, the more I do the internal work, the more I earn. The two things are intrinsically connected. Just looking at my notes. One of the key things about law of attraction is acting as if it's already happened. And this is when the magic really starts to happen. And I know, because I've been there, that it can be tricky to do this sometimes, particularly when you're on that bottom rung of the ladder, perhaps just starting out, and you're still in survival mode where you're having to pay the bills and there just is too much month and not enough money. But I promise you, when you work on this stuff, it will start to turn around. So I've got a task for you. And what we're going to do is over the next 30 days, you're going to reprogram your mind. How does that sound? So I don't know if you practice a gratitude journal already. In the past, I'd say thank you for my new client coming in, but the key was the missing thing of the emotion, how it made me feel. Emotions are energy in motion, and it's what makes us human. And I had a gratitude journal, and every night I'd get into bed and I'd go, I'm only sharing this because it might help, you know, if something's just a bit out of kilter for you at the moment. Thank you for the £50 that this client paid me. Thank you for having the one-to-one. It's like, thank you more, please. Thank you more, please. But I wasn't, it was like I was like a robot with it, and I wasn't feeling into the energy of gratitude when I was saying thank you. And that's the key piece. The other key piece is keeping your energy as clean as possible. To be a clean vessel for your manifestation to flourish and grow. To have cleared as much energy as possible so that it's flowing through your vessel, your body, your energy body. Now, sometimes you can have really clear energy, but this can have been absorbed through generations. Usually goes back 6 generations is probably the furthest it goes. A bit like a little tincture in your energy system that sits there and gets passed from one generation to another. And again, there's no blame here. Our parents and our parents' parents were just doing the best that they could with what they had. Earl Nightingale said, whatever we plant in our subconscious and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become reality. The 3 key words in that sentence are subconscious, emotion, repetition. Ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. So what is it you want? Are you absolutely clear on what you want? Because, as I said earlier, we are constantly manifesting. But if we're not clear on what it is that we want, then how does the universe know what to give us? Before we go into the journaling prompt, let me give you some ideas. So I know that Sarah's already done this, but it's good to revisit it because they change and shift all the time. I am statements. So some of mine are, I am a successful coach and energy healer with a waiting list. Big chunks of money drop into my bank account every day. That's one that shifted for me recently because it was my bank account's pinging, you know, with the Stripe account, like a little ping when money drops in. You hear it in my old language, a little ping. Now I've changed it to big chunks of money are dropping into my bank account every day. I am a successful author. Money comes to me easily and my clients pay me well. The abundance is in the language, isn't it? And it's as if now I am already, because time is not linear. This is quantum physics. We're acting as if now. So just to reinforce that message, please don't write, I would like, because that's in the future. Please write, I am already, not already, but you know, it's happening right now. And when you're writing that, what would you do differently if that, whatever it is that you're calling in, has already happened? How would you show up? How would you communicate differently if you already had those things? Another one I have is 15 women are sitting online waiting for me to start my first day of my Clarity, Cash and Confidence course. They are sitting there waiting for me to start it. So they signed up, they paid me, they're sitting there waiting for it to happen. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a timer on, and I want you to do a bit of a list of things that you want to have happened by the end of the year, but write them as if they have already happened. Are you clear on what you need to do? All right. So let's set the timer and away we go. How are you doing? Do you need a bit more time? Yeah, one more minute. Yeah. Okay. You okay? Good. Brilliant. All right. So now that you've got your list of things that you've achieved for the end of 2024, what I want you to do is choose one. Just one to focus on at the moment. What's the big, juicy one that that's really top of your list? Would you like to share it with us? Sarah, what's yours?
My Walk With Me Through Winter online course has 20 people waiting excitedly for it to start.
I love it. Lovely. And what about you, Sherry? What's your big top one?
Well, my things is just more building up my self-confidence and just believing in myself.
Okay, honey. Lovely. That's a great place to start, isn't it?
Yes.
So will you just read me the sentence so that I can hear that it's as if now?
Oh, I just put I just said build self-confidence. I just quickly wrote down that. So
Can I make a suggestion then?
yes, you can.
So it might sound more empowering if you said something like, I am confident. So start it with I am. And then what I suggest you do is put it on a post-it note and stick it up somewhere that you see it, on a mirror in the morning in the bathroom, and say it out loud to yourself over and over again. Because your subconscious will then start to believe it. Okay, lovely. And find your own language, but start with that I am bit. Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay.
Francis,
Yes.
sorry, I want to write one about stability and safety, but I don't really know how to word it
Right.
because I don't know that if putting safety in there is it feels a bit negative.
Yeah. So what's that? Let's just feel into this. So when you feel stable and safe, that energetically and symbolically, that feels like foundations of a house. Really strong and stable, doesn't it? Oh, there we go.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As I've done that, it's like my wings have opened. So if you feel into the energy of the house, strong and stable, perhaps you could look at a thesaurus or something like that and find some words that give you that. I have strong foundations that keep me. Yeah.
Mm. I
Not,
think it's going to be a tree for me and not a house.
oh yeah, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
feels right.
yeah, yeah, of
Okay.
course it does. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So roots anchored
Mm.
down. My roots are anchored down in the earth. And not even the biggest tornado is shifting me. Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sometimes it just helps to get it to say it out loud, doesn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
All right. So you're picking your one top thing. What I want you to do now on that same journal page is write that sentence 3 times. Because energetically, the number 3, we're embedding it into our subconscious. So I'll just give you a minute to write that 3 times on your journal page. And give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Beautiful. All right. Now I want you to close your eyes and I want you to feel into that you've just written and feel the emotion of it. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel knowing that it's already yours? Do you feel confident, powerful, free, fulfilled? What word comes up when you feel into the emotion and the energy of that empowering visualization? Do you want to share what's come up?
At first it felt like gratitude, but then it just became really, really deep joy. It was just so lovely. I just felt so happy and grateful to everyone. Yeah.
If you can encapsulate the way that that makes you feel, that's the key. It's hanging on to that emotion, isn't it?
Mm.
And what about you, Sherry? How did it make you feel?
The first one was confident, which I was looking for. I felt that powerful, confident, but I get a lot of anxiety too. So I felt peaceful too. There's like a calmness rolled over too.
Beautiful. Isn't that nice? Yeah, good, good. All right. So the final key to this, the final piece of the jigsaw, is doing that process first thing in the morning, last thing at night, every day for the next 30 days. And that's your 30-day homework. Because the repetition will make it become reality. Now, there's a beautiful word that I love called desire. I find it a very feminine word. It's bigger than want, isn't it? It's your heart's desire. It's a very passionate word. It feels sexy and from the heart, doesn't it? So what does your heart really desire? Is it that we've just worked on, or is it something else? Think about that word desire when you're writing that stuff from your heart. Because what happens is when this potent energy enters your pineal gland, it gets released into the ether, into the air, where the superconscious and the spirit of harmony work together to project a divine bridge of incidents that cause you to experience that exact mental image and feeling in your physical world. It's the law. It has to happen, like gravity. That's real law of attraction. It's fascinating, isn't it? But we have to get that thing going in our beautiful pineal gland first. Clear our energy. Ask for what's rightfully ours. Because you're meant to be prosperous. We are all meant to be prosperous. We just let life get in the way. It's beautiful, isn't it? Ooh, there we go. So, there we are. That's the first part. Has anybody got any questions? Anything specific that they want to ask about that particular part of the session? No. All right. So we're going to have a little 2-minute break just to refill your cups. And then we'll come back and we'll start with the mastermind session. Okay, I'll press pause and see you back. I think it's interesting that there's only 3 of us today. I think we might get a chance to do a hot seat for both of you actually, because we're such a small group. So that'll be good, won't it? All right. So the way that this works is I'm going to ask you to give me like a headline of, if you imagine a newspaper headline, just a summary of what's going on for you, what you'd like some support with. And then you can both have a turn at being in the hot seat and I'll explain it as we go. So Sarah, what would you like some support with, honey?
I think it's how I keep sabotaging my own stability.
Okay. Okay. So thank you. Thank you for being so honest. I think when we're honest and vulnerable like that, it helps us help you more, doesn't it? So how you keep sabotaging, what was the rest of it, sorry?
My own stability.
Your own stability. Yeah, thank you. And Sherry, what's yours, honey?
It's funny. I'm kind of like with Sarah too, the self-sabotage, but I don't know. A lot of family stuff's been coming up for me. Both my mother and father have passed, but my sister's in California. I just feel like a lot of things are just doing all this work with ancestral after mom passed away. So you had mentioned it before, so all this generational stuff. So I just want to heal. I just would just like to heal, walk in my own on my own path, and I'm not really sure how to say it,
Okay.
heal whatever the past trauma is, so I can move on for myself, and there is a self-sabotage too, so I don't know how to word all that. That's where I get stuck.
Yeah, that's okay. I hear you. I've got you. All right. Okay, so let's do Sarah's first because she's done this before, so you can see how it works, Sherry. All right. So now that we've got you say that you want some help on how to stop sabotaging your own stability. So do you want to give us a bit more information? So I'm gonna put the timer on. So you've got 5 minutes just to give us as much information as you can about this particular situation that you've got going on.
Okay. So as you know, I did the money manifesting with you, which was absolutely brilliant and has really shifted an awful lot of stuff. And I am now doing the things I love and actually believing that I can earn a good income from it. But there's something stopping me from moving forwards, and I kept wondering what it was. What am I doing wrong? Anyway, I was driving back from Wales the other week with my son, Elliot, in the front of the car. And we're on the motorway and somebody just swerved into our lane without any warning at all. And everybody slammed on, and it was a wet day. I had a car full of stuff, and we just went bang into the car in front.
Oh,
Yeah. So we pulled over. I mean, this other car just drove off, just left all of us all like screeched to a halt, and off it went. After causing this calamity. I mean, I don't know how many cars back it went and who, if anyone else had a bang, but anyway, luckily just a tiny crack in my bumper and his number plate was hanging off on one side. So we both went, there's no point, and nobody was hurt. But it just brought back a lot of memories of when I was 7 months pregnant with Elliot and I was exiting a motorway roundabout, and a woman came onto the roundabout, hit the back of my car, flipped me onto my roof, and I went skidding down the slip road towards the motorway on my roof.
wow.
Yeah. And having sort of processed that through some journaling, a lot of stability stuff came up about how when I was little, I was on a balance beam and my dad just let go of my hand because my sister shouted him and I fell off and hurt my arm. Every man I've been in a relationship with has never, ever provided me with any security or stability. And so that just seems to be something that is a recurring theme in my life. And I obviously don't want it to be, because if I don't ever feel secure and stable, I'm going to keep sabotaging and never feel secure and stable. So I do stupid things like, I know I've got a big bill coming out and I'll go, but I really need a pair of new shoes because my old one's falling apart. They probably would have lasted a bit longer, but I'll buy a pair of shoes. I'll get something for Archie. I'll buy something, that my kids, and then, oh, suddenly I haven't quite got enough money to cover that bill. Yeah. And little things like that,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Interesting. So
Hmm.
you've got another minute or so. Is there anything else that you want to add to that will help you?
I don't know.
How's that showing up financially? I know that you talked about the shoes and the bills, but is that the same pattern all the time?
Yeah. So whatever comes in, I think, oh, great. Like I had a really big payment from somebody who's booked me to do these events in Wales in a couple of weeks. And it just vanished like that. And I thought, I haven't even bought anything. Where did that go?
Okay. Thank you so much. That's very brave of you sharing that. All right. So what we do now is we're going to ask some fact-finding questions, Sherry. Sarah's given us as much information as she can about what's going on, but of course we might need to ask some questions just to get a bit more clarity about what's going on. So just a bit of a word of warning. We're not going to go into giving advice yet, because the advice part of it comes afterwards. If you start a question with, have you thought about, that's very carefully disguised advice. All right, so if you say something like that, I will stop you, because if we jump into the advice part of it too soon, we're sort of jumping ahead of ourselves, because what we're trying to do is encourage Sarah to come up with a solution herself by asking questions that, let me give you an example. If you did have the answer to this, what would the answer be?
I don't know, because it plays out in every single area of my life and I can see it in my home, my relationships, my work, my hobbies, everything. That's really big. I don't know.
And it's interesting to me that you put the label on it as safety and security. Can you explain why you call it safety and security and you've connected it to having an accident?
I think because ever since that accident, that the first one when I was pregnant, I've not enjoyed driving the car. It's always been, it's because I have to get to A to B, from A to B. I only drive, I don't choose to just drive somewhere without planning it, thinking about where I'm going and having a reason to go there. So I'm not spontaneous. I do tend to overplan. And I think for me, security and safety are they're different things. Safety, I think, is more to do with danger. Security is more to do with being able to enjoy your life without fear of yeah, sort of repercussions, really. Yeah.
So not without fear of danger. Are repercussions different?
Yeah, so the repercussions would be things like, you know, I could go out and buy a nice pair of shoes because the money's there. You know, I can quite happily get somebody to come and do some work in the garden because, you know, the money's there. The house is, you know, there's work needs doing. And I've just got this in the back of my head of this house is falling down around you and you're not doing the maintenance work that it needs doing on it because you haven't got the time, the money. And do you see what I mean? That my home isn't even safe and secure. And weirdly, the other day, my car key broke. So I can't even lock my car. So I've got,
Wow.
I know. So
Yeah.
nothing feels secure at the minute.
Have you got any questions, Sherry?
I was just going more like, I'm seeing your questions. I really work more like how are you feeling at the time? This, because for me, sometimes I just deal so much with feeling. It's just like, you know, where were you at? Where were you feeling at the time? Because sometimes when I do that, I'm seeing how I created things. I'm not trying to give any advice or anything. So my questions was more like about feeling like, you know, at the time when the accident happened, you know, what were you thinking about? You know, how were you feeling? What was your overall energy at the time?
Yeah, good question.
Is that the first accident or the second accident?
I was going with the first accident.
Well, that was complete shock. Because obviously I was just on my way to work and she hit the back of my car, so I didn't even see her coming. But then weirdly calm. And I just remember sitting in the car thinking, why am I still holding the steering wheel when I was upside down? But then I had to, and I was really calm. I thought, right, I need to get out of this car to safety. So I wound the window down. Luckily, even at 7 months pregnant, I wasn't too big to squeeze through the window. So I undid my seatbelt, climbed out through the window and onto the grass verge. And the woman who'd hit me was stood there, and her face, when she saw me, just dropped. Ambulance came. I got bundled into the ambulance. And I was thinking I was just like really numb. And I remember being worried about work and saying to the police officer, can you please ring work and let them know I can't come in today? And then the first time I actually cried was when I was about to be discharged and the nurse offered me a cup of tea. And then it just like went. Yeah.
And is it different to the second way then? Just like the next bit on from Sherry's question. How did you feel after the second accident?
Well, again, because it was so sudden and it was a shock, and again, there was nothing I could do about it. I did what I could, but the accident still happened. I just remember apologising to Elliot a lot. I don't think I was a little bit agitated and a bit panicky because there was no hard shoulder, so we all had to find somewhere, drive on, and then find somewhere to pull in, because there was literally no hard shoulder on that stretch of motorway at all for ages. And this guy thought I'd just driven off. And then we exchanged numbers and everything. I was a bit shaky, but nowhere near as bad as the first time. Yeah.
Okay. My question is to do with, because you and I have done some work together, haven't we? Have you noticed a difference in, so I have a phrase that I say all the time, Sherry, which is, how you do anything is how you do everything. Have you noticed a difference since we started working together about the way that you manage money, or is it still the same?
No, it has changed. I'm not afraid to look at my my bank account regularly now. I had set up 2 savings accounts. They have a time when you can access them, so I can't access them for a while. One of them's for Christmas and one of them is for, like, I know my car MOT is due in February, so that's that one there. I've been trying really hard to think, am I borrowing from my future self here? And trying to get out of the overdraft. So yeah, things have shifted, and when I've done when my friend did muscle testing questions with me around money, they were all very positive. But everything to do with safety, security, and intimacy was very negative.
Right. Sherry, have you got any more questions?
That was really and I apologize. You know, sometimes with it, for me, it was more like before the accident happened. Because this is where I am in my life and everything. Like, where was I at? Where was my mind at? What was I feeling? I'm not even just talking about accidents, just certain things for me, because for me, I'm trying to stay out of the anxiety and more centered and more in the gratitude. And I've noticed when I'm more there, I've noticed some shifts. So that's why I was asking, like, even before the accident happened, before all that, what was going on? Where were the feelings? You know, where were you at before? Because
That was 19 years ago. I can't.
And you may not, you know, it was just, you know, I mean, it even could just be like this last one, you know, just you know, and you may not really remember. I do a lot with health and wellness too, so I've done some coaching with food, and I had one while I was just learning, and I had some practice clients. I asked one of my friends one time. She was just talking about herself with her feeling and her feelings and not feeling good, and some rashes and stuff coming up. And I always was just like, well, how do you feel after you eat something? Why don't you just eat one thing? And she goes, oh wow, I never thought of it. So, you know, I just guess that's where I've always been, and I always, for myself, look at how I'm feeling and where I'm at, because I know that in my anxiety and like my lack of self-confidence and everything, or the self-sabotage and everything, that's when I see either an accident, it doesn't have to be like a car accident or anything, but I may trip and fall, and I may drop something, I may break something. Things like that may happen for me. So I always try to focus on where I'm at and try. I shouldn't use the word try, and I know I read the 4 agreements and everything, and be more mindful, stay in the present moment instead of, for me, my anxiety.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still a little unclear on what exactly your question is. Sorry, if you can clarify.
So my question was, like, before the accident happened, how were you feeling before that? What was going on before all of that, before all the accident happened?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just had a nice holiday and I was driving home.
There wasn't
That-
anything significant going on at the time.
No,
No.
no.
Okay. Okay. Right. So we're going to move on to the advice part of the session now. So I'm going to put the timer on again, and we'll have a couple of minutes of advice each for Sarah. So this is where you can freely give advice, Sherry, about what you feel might be going on for Sarah. I'll start with my advice. So you know that I know about this stuff. In my book, I talk about messages from the universe. It's like, you're not listening. Oi, oi, you're not listening. And it'll get stronger and stronger until you actually sit up and take notice. And what is interesting for me is some of the language that you used when you were answering some of the questions. So I've written down, trying really hard. Things don't have to be that hard. So you said trying really hard not to borrow from my future self. And I get that, finances can be tricky. So when we're trying really hard, it's still out of balance. So as a suggestion, what I do is put less money into those future bank accounts so that you have the right amount of money to pay yourself every month. The sabotage is definitely still going on because you feel that you're not worth it. Because you can't hang on to the money, you don't have the energetic capacity to hold it. You're giving it away before, to not hang on to it. You talked about you needed new shoes and they could have lasted a bit longer. My question in my head was, why aren't you worth a beautiful new pair of shoes before the others wear out? So you are totally worth it. You're doing amazing work. Treat yourself to the damn shoes. When we hang on to things energetically, what we're doing is we're blocking the flow. So, and I'm not saying spend it willy-nilly so that there's nothing left. What I am saying is, if you make a decision about what I did at that point in my journey was, is this an investment in me or my business? Yes. I'm going to spend the money. If it's not an investment and it's a frittering, I'm not spending the money. There's something more about so that's the financial stuff in summary, but there's something about a lesson about safety and security. They're all connected. I don't know why at this point, without doing a session with you, why you keep having car accidents. It's not right. There's a message there that needs looking at. But try and look at the safety, security and reframe it and do some work around that. Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Yep.
welcome. Sherry, what's so I'm going to What's your advice, Sunny?
Um, that's a good question. I kind of feel like a lot with Sarah and with the self-sabotage and stuff. So, so I try to look at when I'm and I know you said I was feeling like a current accident. No, we just came back and everything was good. And I sometimes feel like there are lessons we haven't learned yet, and why is it keep repeating? So is it in the subconscious something that we haven't brought up yet, as why are we keep repeating the same thing over and over again? So what is it? So sometimes is just to sit down and just ask the question, what is it I need to learn? What is this trying to show me? What, you know, why am I still repeating this? And, and I'm repeating myself saying it. So that's where it is for me. And I get hung up on it for myself. So, it's kind of one of those, I don't know if it's tricky or whatever. It's kind of like for me, and maybe for you too, with the self-sabotage, it's one of those ones that has to take us more mindfulness and everything to get through, for ourselves to really connect in with where we're at and why we're not seeing what it is we need to do to complete this lesson to move on, instead of keep repeating it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally.
Okay, Sarah. Have you had any clarity whilst we've done this? Is there anything that's been useful?
Oh yeah, no, it's all been useful. And I know there's probably some really deep work to do on this. And it's not going to be a quick thing. But what I don't want it to do is to keep holding me back while I'm trying to move forwards and doing the work at the same time. So that's just something that I will spend some time with. Thank you both.
The journaling and rare processes that you've done before will help you with that, peel away some layers.
Yeah.
And you're doing amazing. Look, you're here and you want to shift things, and that's a big part of it too. So it's already happening for you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sherry. That was very valuable, because awareness is the first step in the process, isn't it?
Yes.
So being aware of it is already means that your subconscious is working on it. Yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing again now for you, Sherry. So do you want to just, I'm just going to put the clock on timer. So you've got a couple of 5 minutes to share with us what's going on and what you need some support with.
Well, family stuff. So my sister's in California. This is so it's just bringing up a lot of my childhood. And she's like 3.5 years older than me, we never really had any support or anything. The only one I really had from was my mother and father. And I always felt like a black sheep in the family. And my dad had his own stuff too. So there's this stuff going on. And after my mother died, a lot of stuff going on. My brother doesn't talk to me anymore. And I was surprised. My mother's sister, nothing, because she created a lie that I stole money. And I didn't steal money. And my sister knows it, and she didn't have my back. And I think about my father, when my aunt at the time, my aunt with my father, when he was alive, a lot of stuff came back that he stole money. And their brother was a gambler. It all went back to that. So I just feel all this ancestral stuff that I was clearing stuff up. And my father and I were a lot alike. Mom always called me a mini Andy. So I just feel like I'm clearing all of this. And it's the whole stuff of just not feeling like I belong anymore. So
Okay. You've got a couple more minutes if there's anything more, any more detail that you want to share with us.
Yeah, I guess that's the big, the family, you know, and I know it sometimes spills over, but actually I've been doing a lot of work, so I have now where I am. I've met people and I feel support and everything, and even people like looking at me, it's like they know who I am, and it's just like, well, why doesn't my family see it? Why people I don't know and I just, you know, I've known for a couple of years, they see who I am, but my own family keeps me as this little child. And that's my own stuff. You're trying to clear up this childhood, whatever trauma that I need to, because I think that's the biggest thing. And then I do look back at it as being ancestral, like you had brought it before. I think it's generational, and there is stuff there too. When I start, you know, like my father really never talked much, but my mom and I, when I was younger, you know, I learned a lot. So, but I know nothing about my father's side of the family, and a lot of it seems, and I don't even know them after my father died or anything. They never were part of my life. But I was surprised that my mother's sister and everything, my aunt, all of a sudden, and it's just like, and you know, I kind of think about it, you know, why do I want to be around people who don't want to be around me? I can feel energy. So why don't I just say, okay, thank you, universe. Thank you for letting me know, you know, and I'll be around people that I'm meeting. You know, they call me and let's get together, let's go out, let's go, maybe go for lunch or go for a walk or something. So that's where I should be at, you know. But I still need to clear up. I know I still kind of need to clear up this childhood trauma that is still there and get triggered sometimes from.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being open and honest and sharing that with us. That's it can feel, especially first time around, it can feel like a bit vulnerable, a bit raw, can't it? Okay, so questions. I have a question which it's something that you said, and I want to just mirror it back to you gently, kindly, with love. Is that why do you want to be around your family?
That's a good question. I guess it's family, you know, when you grew up, they were there, you know, they were always there. So you feel like that's a good, and yeah, right. And I've been coming down to anyways, it's like, well, it's funny because I said that earlier too. It's just like, why do I want to be around that energy if I'm not accepted and don't want to be around? So you're right, you know.
Now
It's,
I'm just saying that this is not me saying don't see your family. Of course, you have to make that decision, but sometimes we do. We make these decisions because it's almost like part of our DNA, because they're family, because they're blood. But and I can totally relate to this because I struggle with my family too. So I was just curious about that question because you'd asked yourself that question, but you'd not given the answer.
right. Well, the ones in Massachusetts, that's where I was born and raised. I haven't seen them in years or talked to them. I still kind of feel mom's passed away, and mom's always just like, don't let anything come between you, because like I said, with what happened with her, my father and everything, and what happened, her and her sister didn't talk for 10 years, and she said, don't let anything like come between you and your siblings and everything. You always, so I think that's in my mind. So I'm always sending him a birthday card in the mail or a Christmas card, you know, more from mom. You know, I don't know why. I guess it's more like I feel like from mom and keeping us all together. And then my sister, I do stay in contact with her. She's in California because she has a daughter. Arielle is in her 30s. She might be about 34, 35. And she just had another baby August 22nd. And her oldest is going to turn 2 on October 8th. And I'm going out there. His second birthday. But my niece and I, we had a strong connection growing you know, when she was little, I was always going out to California. It's like she was my playmate. So I feel a big bond with Ariel. So, and I know, you know, we can text and talk and everything. I still feel that connection. So I want that connection. And her mother happens to be my sister, so it's kind of, that's where I get kind of tricky. Like, you know, I just, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm going out there on October 10th, and then my sister decided with her boyfriend they're going to go out to Hawaii, and she needs somebody to watch her dog because her dog is paraplegic. Now, I didn't tell you this, I have MS. So I have difficulty too. So here she is having me, who have issues, take care of a paraplegic dog. And I trust you and everything. And it's like a half an hour away, and it's just like, and you go over in California, it's like this huge mountain you have to go over to get there. It's like, but Marina was going because I just wanted to spend time with my great nephew, and now my great niece and my niece, just to spend time with her, not to be there all day long, and maybe just spend an hour there. So it looks like now, because I talked to her, she's starting to get some other coverage. You know, I'll help out some, but I guess, you know, but you're right. I'm sorry, I even added up more into that, but yeah, I am. Other people have cut, but I do not want to cut my niece out of my life.
Yeah. Sarah, have you got any questions on it?
So you said that you feel like the black sheep of the family. So where do you think that this is holding you back in your life?
Good question. I guess not. I guess that's what the confidence is not feeling like, you know, putting myself out there, feeling like I'm just going to be rejected anyway. So that thank you. That's a good thing to look at with my self-confidence and everything. Thank you.
And the other one was, does it actually bother you that your brother doesn't speak to you? If you didn't really get on anyway, does that still bother you?
And that's a good question too. Like I'm the youngest, and Mom always said I was the most protected of her, and he stayed with her until Mom had pancreatic cancer and everything, and but he was there until she passed away. But he was very selfish, and but you're right. I just know growing up, when I did think about that before, he always broke everything of mine. Never very supportive of me. And when he went through a drug problem, he stole my stuff to get money and everything. So yeah, you're right. And I think it comes back to mom saying, you know, don't let anything come between you guys. So I just think it's that whole, like, everybody wants the family together. And I'm coming to the realization that family doesn't have to be blood. I have lots of friends that I consider. So thank you for that. So maybe it is this time to stop the Christmas cards and birthday cards too, because
Do you get them back? Do they send them to you?
no, I get nothing from him. And actually, you know, no, I don't. And I know a couple of years ago when my sister and niece came down, they went to visit him, and he made sure that he said that he did not want to see me. So no.
Wow. So I have a question for you. If you could do, if you knew the answer to one thing to move you forward from where you are right now, what would that one thing be, Sherry?
It has to come down with me, my self-confidence, that I am strong and I am capable. And besides family, people I do meet, you know, they are receptive, and, you know, we get along and everything. So I guess it would come down to me being, again, that confidence and that strength within, that confidence within, and just knowing that, you know.
So that confidence, Sherry, what would she do? What would confident Shari do? That one thing.
Just move on with my life, you know, I mean, not, and that's where I've been working on too, like when I was talking to Sarah too, it's the energy too. I want to be around people who are positive, and not that you don't run into little bumps in the road, but people who want to be with you will work it out. You can agree to disagree and just work things out, you know, it don't have to be.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, well done.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Sarah.
Mhm. So, advice, Sarah. Do you want to give some advice for Shari?
Sure. So it sounds like, well, I know because I've had a similar experience with my family too, is that your family, they put you in a little bubble of expectation. This is who you are. And when you don't fit into that bubble of expectation anymore, they don't know how to deal with you. They don't relate to you in the same way, and it's very hard for people to change. When we change, it's like with any relationship, even with like a significant other, when you change and evolve in your relationship, in yourself, your relationship with others has to change and evolve. And obviously your relationship with your family hasn't. And it might be like with me, I did an awful lot of masking as a child. So I behaved in a way I thought I was expected to behave rather than the way I wanted to or that made me feel comfortable. But as a grown up, I've just kind of gone, stuff that. I don't, that's not me. I don't want to be like that. So that could be why you're feeling so stuck in the relationships with them. A couple of things that have really helped me. One was doing, I don't know if you've heard of the 16 personalities, it's the Myers-Briggs personality test.
I've done that years ago. I thank you for bringing it up, but that was years
Yeah.
ago. But anyways,
But
go ahead.
not just doing that, because that gives you a really good understanding of yourself. And it can help you to be really compassionate with certain traits and behaviors that we have. But if you do it for relatives, or get them to do it, it can then actually help you to find a way of communicating and relating to one another, which is much more positive. So if anyone is willing to do that, that might be a lovely way of being able to understand somebody's personality and why there are maybe clashes and where you can find some resolution. But the other thing that I'd love to suggest is doing some loving kindness meditations. So sending loving kindness to yourself, loving kindness to maybe your niece, and then maybe to your brother, because it should always start with yourself and then somebody who you get on well with, and then somebody who you maybe struggle with a bit. So I would think that a loving kindness would really help all of you.
Oh, that's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Shari. So my advice is the labels, the childhood labels that we're given, because we're all given labels. It's weird, isn't it, when we go back into family situations that we automatically step into that label. The shy one, the funny one, the fat one, the skinny one, the clever one, and we just automatically step into those labels because of that conditioning that we've had. And it feels to me like that label's not serving you anymore. I wrote my autobiography last year, and part of that autobiography I was talking about when me and my husband split up, and he ended up creating a relationship with my sister, which was very difficult. And I went to go and see a counsellor, and it was brilliant advice. And she told me, I said to her, I feel like I walk into a lion's den every time I walk into a family event, and there's those two on one side and me on the other. And what she did was she helped me to see it in a different way, which was that actually I was the one that was confident, I was the one that was in control. And as soon as I changed my view, my world view of the situation, the way that they interacted with me was very different. It all comes back to, and your subconscious knows the answer to this because you've talked about it, your own confidence. When you change your confidence and you change the way that you show up in the world, people will react to you differently. And I suggest if they don't, it's their issue, not yours. And then you can make an empowered decision about whether you still want those people in your life or not. But as you very correctly identified, you know, the people that we spend the most time with don't have to be people that drag us down. We can create our own family. Yeah, yeah. So I've also got something that I've shared before, which is the 3F formula. I will send it to you afterwards, a little reminder for everyone. So it's a way of having conversations with people that strips all the emotion out, and it gives you an empowering way of saying what you need to say and get it off your chest without upsetting anyone. So the first F is, here are the facts. The facts are, I always send you Christmas cards, you never return them, whatever the factual facts are. The second one is how it makes you feel, because nobody can deny how something makes you feel. It makes me feel unloved, unwanted, like I'm not part of the family, however it makes you feel. And then the final F is, here's what I'd like to happen in the future. And when you sit and write this out and journal it before you have the conversation, think about what it is that you really want from these relationships moving forward, because that will help you stand in your new confidence, Shari, claiming what's rightfully yours. Okay, so what is it that you're going to do? What from the advice that you've given, and sometimes it helps just getting it off your chest, doesn't it? What are you going to move forward with now that we've shine a light on this issue that you've got?
Well, I know, like with Sarah, I have getting to do work more on the love and kindness meditations. I have done some like healing meditations is what I've sent out to. But the bottom line is, like I said, I haven't heard from them, and you're right, I don't receive anything back, so I'm just gonna stop sending the birthday cards and Christmas cards and everything. It just, every time I do it, I do question myself, why am I doing this? So I just think it's just time just to stop it. That'll stop. And then journal too, you know, more like my sister, because I got to go out to California, and I know some things have shifted a little bit, but doing the journal on, you know, the facts, you know, the feeling and the future, and do that. So when I do go out there, I will have that. So if the conversation comes up, I've already written it out and everything. So I already have an idea, you know, something that I want to say, instead of just starting and then getting emotional, and then it turns into not good. With all the emotion comes out. So thank you.
How about confident Shari starts the conversation rather than waiting for the conversation to come up?
Okay, yeah, I can do that too. Yes. Yes.
I think that feels like something that she would do, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful, wonderful. I hope you've both got some clarity there.
Yes.
What we're going to do is we're going to finish with a consciousness journey. So, whereabouts in the world are you, Shari? What part of America are you?
I'm on the East Coast. I'm in New Hampshire. I was born and raised in Massachusetts, but now I'm in New Hampshire, and I'm in Wolfboro, which is like the White Mountains. So I'm right by Lake Winnipesaukee. So it's, I know I always loved hiking. The highest point here in New England is Mount Washington, and in the 90s I hiked it 3 times, and I miss my hiking, but I do know that's one of my things too, just working on different things to strengthen my legs and do things so I can get back out there. And I don't know if I'll ever hike Mount Washington again, but at least I can do some little hikes.
Yeah,
But yes, that's what I love.
sounds beautiful. Okay, right. So if you're ready, if you want to pop your feet flat on the floor for me, you can close your screen down if it makes you feel more comfortable. Close your eyes. Get comfortable. Sit with your palms facing upwards, resting on your lap as an indication to receive. And just take a nice deep breath in right into the bottom of your belly, really deep. And then let it go when you're ready. Give your shoulders a bit of a wriggle, just release any tension that might be sitting there. And then take another deep breath in, right down into the bottom of your root. And breathing out. One last time, take a nice deep breath in. And out. There we go. Collecting your energy, bringing your energy into your midline. Closing your eyes and focusing on your spine. Allow your breath to move your body gently as you inhale. And exhale. Allow the rhythm of your breath to bring peace into your heart. Ground your energy. And with your intention, reach down from your feet into the air. Imagine ivy growing down from your feet and legs into the air. You'll feel your body get a little heavier and very stable. Reach up to the universal plane and call down at universal love. You do this by opening up your crown chakra, reaching upwards into that beautiful white sparkling energy. This is when you reach universal plane. Clear your energetic aura by allowing the universal love to flood over you, knocking off anything you no longer need. Remove your filters and judgments. Do this with intention and put them into a metaphorical envelope to look at later and put the envelope aside. Empty your mind. Let the universal love dissolve anything unwanted in your mind. Connect behind your eyes to your mind's eye and become a neutral observer. Notice the darkness that is the consciousness of you, the observer within, the part of you that came when you were born and will leave when you die. This is your consciousness. Acknowledge yourself. Notice your breath, how you inhale and experience a new moment, how you exhale and let go of that potential without regret, how you pause, knowing you will once again breathe in. Acknowledge the silence in the pause of the breath. Feel your being still itself. The stillness brings such peace and calm. It is in this energy of peace that the scene changes, and you find yourself in a beautiful wood. Everything is vibrant and green. All the trees and plants are lush, and there are droplets of water everywhere, giving everything a clean, just new look and feeling. You notice a pathway through the woods. It takes you up the mountainside. You effortlessly follow the pathway and go through the woods, through a meadow with a wonderful meadow of flowers, climbing higher up the mountain to a plateau, where you look down and see how far you've come. You acknowledge your journey and know that you have evolved beyond what you could ever know. You look up once more and continue on the path up the mountainside towards the peak. The sun is shining And you notice a beautiful white eagle flying high above you, leading the way. The mountainside turns from meadow to rock to snowy peak. The going is easy and effortless, and very quickly you find yourself on the highest peak of the mountain, outside a snow crystal temple. The eagle waits outside. You follow the eagle into the temple and find yourself in the most beautiful pyrite crystal space. The center is round, and in the middle the eagle waits. As you approach, the bird shifts and changes until you find yourself in front of your wise woman, the all-knowing aspect of you. You stand face to face, eye to eye, heart to heart, energy to energy, and breathe in the stillness of her. Here there are no words to say, only a knowing of truth. There are no questions to ask, only a knowing of trust. As you share this time together, you understand everything that comes towards you as a symbol of your own growth. As you receive the love she gives you, you understand that everything you experience is an expression of that love. You may return here with questions. You may return here with a quest for information. You may return here for your truth. You step back and your higher self shifts and changes into the eagle, who invites you to climb upon her back. As you fly back from the temple, you look down on the mountain, the meadow, and the woodland from this higher perspective. The eagle lands in the woodland, on the path where you began. You acknowledge all you have been shown in gratitude and love. The scene changes, and you're back in your mind's eye. Notice your consciousness observer. Ground your energy again. Notice your breath and your body, and coming back to this place and this time, and opening your eyes. You okay? Beautiful. Thank you so much. So that's the end of the session today. Sarah, I'm just going to run through with Shari some of the membership options. So if you want to hop off, you can do, because of course you've seen all this before. And yeah, I'll see you again soon. All right, take care, sweetheart.
Thank you, both of you. Bye.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
I'll just stop recording.